Streaming has started.
Okay, so our live streaming is on, and in a minute we will be ready to start. So I hope everything is clear now. Or Shilpa, you want to from the technical part, everything is through. We are up and live streaming now. Okay, and in 1 minute, Shilpa, you can start so that we will start with the agenda, right? Maybe after 1 or 2 minutes. Is it
So,
okay?
yeah, first you will do a welcome note, right? Then you'll give the mic to me.
Yeah. So let's wait for. So any doubt anywhere? Let's quickly finish it off.
Let's just check with Priya if she's able to at least show her video. I mean, so that in between the
She's
sessions she
actually
can
on the
join.
way, so possibly I think she doesn't want to put it on right now. Yeah, she's there.
Priya, you will have to do it in the landscape mode because you are right now visible just half of the screen. So you need to change your portrait setting auto rotate on your mobile phone and then put it on landscape so that we can see you in complete.
So I'm just doing a quick check. Right now, I put myself into focus, so you'll be seeing me only. Correct?
Yes.
Once I'm in live, you will be able to see all. Right?
So, Mr. Kailash, you will begin and then I'll begin, right? Because I am prepared that way. That you
No
will,
problem. No problem. So I'll
yeah,
give it a start and then
yeah,
hand it over to you after my pitch, and then you can take it out.
yeah.
So shall we start?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Today is World Mental Health Day. The overall objective of World Mental Health Day is to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and to mobilize efforts in support of mental health. The day provides us an opportunity for all stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. Now I'll let you know about why backup. So the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated an already uh, looming crisis in the area of mental health globally. While the new era has led to collective stress, anxiety, and deteriorating mental health parameters, it has brought to light on the lack of mental health support system, especially for young people around the world. And Backup is an initiative to help address this issue to some extent by providing online counseling for mental wellness, emotional wellness, and life coaching through its qualified and experienced professionals across globe. There is another project which is being headed by BITSAA International, which is a body of BITS alumni, those people who are passed out from BITS Pilani campuses are into some or the other jobs or professions worldwide. So it's an association, and in the pandemic time, the need was felt that a support system be developed for BITS alumni. And so a project called BITSAA Sahaaya was launched last year. And today marks the anniversary of BITSAA Sahaaya project as well. We have associated with BITSAA Sahaaya for this awareness program, which is going to happen today through this panel discussion. So BITSAA Sahaaya is an initiative for alumni, by alumni, and of the alumni. Project Sahaaya is a mental health and wellness support system where every BITSian can look on when we or our batchmates feel a drastic chemical locha consuming us, and when we feel or loss and a deep desire to just tell acha. That is just a word with some batchmate. Today's topic, which is in front of all of us, where we have gathered to discuss that through our backup professionals, is on mental health in an unequal world. The theme of mental health in an unequal world underlines the pressing need to focus sufficiently on health beyond the physical in a sustained way in a world which is still struggling to fight against coronavirus. I'll now introduce our today's moderator who will take us through to this panel discussion. Today's moderator is Shilpa Sharma, is a certified life coach with expertise as a career coach. She is an MBA graduate from Madrid, Spain, and she has a bachelor's in engineering from Bangalore. Having worked as an IT professional and strategic business partner HR, she possesses a rich experience with numerous senior leaders of different business verticals to produce high value results. I will welcome all the panelists, which will be introduced as we go by Shilpa, and Shilpa will be moderating the entire session. So, welcome Shilpa, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kailash. Welcome, everybody. It is an absolute honor to be part of this esteemed panel and all the listeners out there with us today. I once again welcome you all on the occasion of World Mental Health Day. Today, with the help of our panelists, we will be discussing on mental health in an unequal world. So, here we shall be asking some of the most important questions to our panelists, and it's a humble request to all of you out there to listen to
Be
us
asking
because
some of
these
the
are the
most
questions.
important questions to our panelists, and it's a humble request to all of you out there to listen to us
So,
because these are
these
the
questions
questions
are the questions that have come to our mind at some point in time, or if not, these questions will be answered in future. So it is a great opportunity for us to listen to these wonderful panelists out here. And it is high time that we start taking care of our mental health as much as we do of our physical health. We have to remember that self care is self love, and self love is the most important area of our well being. With that, I want to begin our questions. Without further ado, I want to begin our question with the topic that is in an unequal world. It's open to any one of you panelists. So, what does an unequal world mean? Tell me who would like to explain this to our audience first.
Okay, so that's fine. I can answer if anybody has prepared the answer. Otherwise, later I'll conclude everything because I have got a good, nice write up to share with. So, if anybody has any idea about what an unequal world is, can share their idea and then I'll conclude that.
Nidhi, you are on mute. Nidhi, you are on mute.
I, unequal world is about, there are different ethnicities, different religions, people coming from different regions, different work experiences. This is the unequal world that we're talking about. As take example of capitalism, right? The difference between the people who are coming from a non strong economic background versus the people who are rich, that gap is increasing day by day. I mean, we are comparing ourselves to everyone, right? Maybe we can compare ourselves on LinkedIn and Facebook, seeing the lives people are leading. So that's an example of inequality. So in short terms, we need to bridge this gap, right? People coming from different ethnicities, age. I mean, as of now, we have been just focusing on inequality means a difference between a male and female, but it is also about people coming from different work experience, different cultures, and also people who are coming with different age group, right? So how can we also involve people who are probably above 40 and 50s and who are not getting employed, right? So these are some of the issues that we can talk about in an unequal world, and that's the intent of the topic today.
Thank you, Nidhi. Guys, everybody out there, you just heard Miss Nidhi Shri. Let me tell you about her. She is a coach that empowers people by training and coaching in the areas of productivity, team performance, leadership, and stress management. She's certified in NLP, positive psychology, and systemic team coaching. She has 10 years of corporate experience in training and development, and she has worked with big organizations like RBS, General Motors, Tata's, and so on. Thank you very much, Nidhi, for opening the stage for our conversation now. And with that, I have very specific questions for all the panelists here, according to the kind of work you're doing in your fields. So let me first ask this question to Miss Hirul Kimani. And here is what Miss Hiral Khemani does. She is a consulting psychologist. She is RCI registered, holding a master's in philosophy. She is certified career counselor from California Certified Remedial Educator. She is also a founder of Khyati Psychotherapy Center based in Thane, Maharashtra. Her expertise lies in marriage counseling, relationship counseling, and career counseling, and she deals with children, adolescents, and adults. With that, Ms. Hirul Kimani, my question to you is: please talk to us about what do you think about this inequality in seeking mental health when it comes to two things I want to ask you. One is on the based of area, like in urban area and rural area. And the second part of my question is in terms of gender, male and female seeking this. On to you, Miss Kimani.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nidhi. Am I audible? Yeah. So thank you very much, Nidhi, for this question. And see, if you ask me this personally, in my 17 years of my practice as a psychologist, what I basically see is, female population coming more for seeking mental health issues. Like they are more like they feel that if we talk to somebody, the things might change, the situation might change. So females are more like seeking help kind of a thing. And the reasons could be possibly because a predisposition kind of a thing which they have to make things work in a very positive directions, as well as society too feels that they are the more people who need to seek support and seek help. So female population does seek more help in my practice, that what I see. Coming up to your next part of the question which you asked me, the area wise, so definitely in terms of urban population getting more facilities, more mental health professionals there, so definitely the seek over is more, the reach over is more to them. Education also does make a difference to them, so urban population seeks more helps as compared to the rural population. That's what I have seen in my entire practice of the 17 years. So I hope this has answered your question well.
Thank you, Ms. Khemani. That is something that I think going forward we all have to focus on to get people from all walks of life, from all communities, rural and urban areas, and male and female, because we know how much it's the human mind that is affected. A mental illness doesn't come seeing the gender or seeing the place where people belong come from. So it is, I think, high time for us to, spread that awareness through online platforms like Buckup and other platforms which have mental health activists like all of you. I think it's high time to create that homogeneity in our culture, in our living surrounding, in our setup, so that anybody and everybody could come forward and ask for help. I'm sure we all are working towards that. Thank you once again. And with that, I want to go to our next speaker. I want to come to I think I will go next. My next question is very important for us because I feel my next question will be to Miss Kratika V. Let me first introduce her so that you have an idea what she has done and where she works, where her expertise lies. So Miss Kratika V is a counseling psychologist. She has a master's degree in psychology from University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, and Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology from Maharani College located in Jaipur as well. She is a certified hypnotherapist as well, and she has worked as an psych associates of Maryland. Inner Peace Wellbeing Center in Jaipur, and various such organizations in which she has conducted both one on one and group counseling to establish a very, very strong client and therapist relationship. All right. So, with that, I want to ask you, Kratika, talk to me about, you know, uh, one second. Can you guys hear me? I think there's some disturbance in my network. Okay, Miss Kratika, I'm coming to you with your question. What kind of mindset change we need to bring regarding mental health so that people can lead happier lives? Happiness is something that is very important to all of us. So go for it.
Thank you, Shilpa, for such wonderful introduction. So, where to begin with? I feel that it has two questions in it. Where one is why to live a happy life, why not like a normal life where we are experiencing all the emotions. The other is what mindset we are talking about. I've heard about a day ago. I've heard a line, a quote rather. It has said that life is all about unlearning what we have learned so far. So a kid knows how to be happy, right? A child knows, an animal knows how to be happy and have fun. So, as a society, did we do justice to humanity in terms of mental health, in terms of understanding our own potential? So, especially in our culture, it is more prominent. Comparison is more prominent. Success, being rich, being more powerful is more prominent. So, being like, especially in our culture where it is our collective society, collectivistic society, not an individual society. So, in terms of that, what mindset we need to change? So, I feel that there is more scope to it. Like we are being taught that okay, खुद की तारीफ मत करो, खुद की तारीफ क्यों करनी है? So, हमारे यहाँ पे एक मुहावरा भी बड़ा फेमस है कि अपने मुंह मियाँ मिट्ठू क्यों बनना है? Why to blow your own trumpet, right? And nobody asked why not? Why am I not doing so good? Why can't I praise myself? So then people say, no, people would praise you. Why to wait till then? Why to wait for that approval? Why am I not successful in my own way? Just not because the other Sharma ji didn't say that, oh, that kid did well, right? So I feel the first most important thing that we lack sometimes is that we all do it. We don't praise ourselves. We barely praise ourselves. Oh, what a, like today we have to go home, like we have to, after this session we have to tell ourselves and everybody that, oh, the session went really well, I did so good. And not in the form of comparison, but in the form of appreciation, that I did so well and everybody was so appreciative and everybody said such wonderful things. And the most important thing after that is chill out more, right? So this is the most simplistic thing I could ever say is chill out more, right? So this is the mindset we need to think about, right?
Thank you, Pratika. I know we are a very, very validation seeking society per se. We want validation for every step we take, everything we do. And if we don't feel confident in ourselves. The self confidence that needs to be there in us is so much missing. And I guess because of that, a lot of us shy away from, asking for help because we think we are not good enough because nobody ever told us. I mean, we need to believe in ourselves, and like you said, we need to give a pat on the back for every small thing we do. Celebrate those small little achievements, and ask for help for any smallest sign of danger that you see is creeping in your life, and that makes you not very happy. Because like you said, what is happy, like a child is always happy, doesn't think about things. We need to give, I think, utmost importance to our happiness. Thank you so much, Pratika. That was very, very informative.
You went on mute, Shilpa, so
Please, Anil.
we can't
Sorry,
hear you.
sorry. My next question is to Miss Uja. Ms. Urja Dhagia is a postgraduate in clinical psychology, working as a freelance practitioner. She is a certified cognitive hypnotherapist and an NLP practitioner. She has thorough of knowledge and experience. And so, to you, Ms. Urja, my question is, what actions can people take to be accountable for their own mental health? Talk to me about that.
Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone, and I hope everyone is having a good time, good Sunday. So, what actions can people take to be happier, to improve their mental health? It's also a very important question, I believe, that everyone should practice. So, I think the first and foremost, I wouldn't, I'll just start. So first and foremost, I believe that everyone should have that active approach uh, towards solving their problems, rather sitting and cribbing about it and hoping that it will get solved. So that's the first thing, that one should have that proactiveness towards their problems. Second is that one needs to take time and focus when they are overwhelmed. Focus on the breathing, that there are situations like you get confused, you don't know what to do. It's that time you take a step back, sit down, and focus. Take a deep breath and focus on your breath, and then you'll come back to the present instantly. So that's the instant exercise, to come back to the present whenever you are overwhelmed or you're going through something. Then comes managing your environment. So, how you surround yourself, where are you living, or where you are working, or the people around you, or the place around you. If it is untidy, or if the people around you having a lot of negative thoughts, you have to change your environment. Focus on that where are you, and whatever you are doing, if your environment is pulling you down, try to change the place, try to change people's perspective if people trying to pull you down. So that one can do. Second is, this is my favorite, engage in healthy daily habits. That means what you can do is, you can have balanced diet, you can have better sleep or balanced sleep. And the last is physical exercise or physical activity. Why would you do that? Why one needs to have a healthy habits? Because if you're sleeping well, your mood will be happy, your day will go happy, you'll feel refreshed and relaxed throughout the day. And if you're eating well, if you're you're taking your diet completely, your nutrition is intact, then you don't have any other issues with any other physical, or also the mental imbalance as well. And physical exercise, why one needs to do physical exercise is that because it releases happy hormones in our body, like endorphins, dopamine, serotonin. So when that gets released, you automatically feel good about yourself. So it's a free. You don't have to pay, just go for a walk and you're fine. Or maybe whatever the sports you like to play, just go and play. So healthy habits are very very important. And if you do this also, even if you're feeling gloomy, you'll feel much better instantly. Then notice. Notice what? Notice that when you are getting negative thoughts, what is the particular time, or what is the particular situation, or what is the particular person who is triggering this negativity in you. So focus on that. Second part is journal it. Write it down. That, okay, this is the situation, this is the person, or this is the place which is causing me discomfort or negativity in myself. And once you journal it, this is one thing I always tell my client, that after journaling everything, what you are going through, what you have felt, or how your day was, the one thing you have to ask yourself, that what was the learning of the day. When you write that learning of the day, at the end of 1 week you have 7 lessons learned. And once you have those 7 lessons learned, you remember, you see yourself that at the end of the month you have 30 lessons learned. And as you have 30 lessons learned, if you're writing every day, Imagine 30 lessons, like 40 rules of love, 30 rules of your own life. So, journaling is very important. And the last one is practicing your hobbies. When you practice your hobby, like painting or music or art or craft, anything, whatever you like to do, is what happens is your mind and your body is completely focused into that one particular thing which you really really love to do, which really really interests you. And doing this thing is something that uh, helping you to get in touch with your core base. So when you practice your hobby, it's not just your hobby, but it's also a therapy. And we had the same discussion yesterday on Clubhouse, which was very wonderful with Rajshri, Miss Rajshri, that we discussed that how hobbies can heal, help us heal in mental discomfort, or how important it is in our mental health. So hobbies are not just hobbies, but it is a therapy. So that's all from my end. If anyone has any question, can ask me at the end of the discussion. Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uja. I do agree. I think the most wonderful things in life are free. And because they are free, we have somehow lost we don't
Value
pay
of it.
attention, value of it. Exactly. I mean, it's right there next to us, sitting around us in our own hands, but we always seek things outside. We always tend to, look for things that are expensive and then we come back with an excuse. I think this is like we get ourselves into a vicious cycle that way.
I
And
think said about the same thing. That it's a vicious circle. We are just stuck into that.
Exactly. So I think very valid points you made. You know, journaling, yoga, going for walk, hobby. I do agree with that. All those parts. But then I think it's where once you know that you're doing everything right, and then you try to, I guess, where you want, where you are aiming at this. You're not all your points aim at the same thing. That's when you will take cognizance of your situation, your head, and your heart, whether there's a sync or no, or there's a harmony missing after you've done everything. And that's how you will be able to know yourself better. And the moment there's something doesn't feel right, you will try to go and ask for help, reach for an expert, because there's like lots of us out there. So very valuable points made. Thank you once again for all those share. And I think listeners will take, at least if they take one of your points and include in their daily life now, they will see a very big change gradually and ultimately. Thank you once again,
Exactly.
Uja.
It's like a baby step, you know. So if you start with one, you don't have to start with all. You start with one, and slowly and gradually you can practice the rest of it. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. I am now going to ask my next question to Miss Parvati Ramakrishnan. First, I want to tell about you. Yeah, Miss Parvati has a master's degree in clinical psychology. She is ICF certified positive psychology coach and certified career counselor from Psycho Siksha Punjab, affiliated to Niti Ayog, a Government of India organization. She is trained in CBT, martial and family therapy, and she is currently working as a freelance psychologist. So, Miss Parvati, my question to you is that what advice would you give to parents if they witness mental stress or anxiety in their kids? Nowadays, this area is very important, and I think this is in your expertise line. So, talk to us about that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Shilpa, for a wonderful introduction. So the answer to your question is like, it's very important for the parents to validate the children's emotion and be non-judgmental towards them to understand them better, rather than telling that like you're just doing for for no sake and you're just doing for fun. So to validate their emotions, be non-judgmental, understand them, have a empathy towards their children, and also to make them understand that it's okay for them to feel anxious about certain situations, and to cultivate the kind of confidence in them. Yes, they would be in a position to handle their anxiety and stressful situation. So giving a kind of a continuous support and a kind of a motivation from the parent side would be highly beneficial for the children. And at times, if they feel that not in a position to manage their anxiety or stress, any kind of stress, it would be he recommended that they can consult a psychiatrist or a psychologist for a further guidance and evaluation, which would make the parents as well as their children to face with that kind of a situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Parvati. I know, I think the non judgmental parenting is what we need to do and make the kids. Can you hear me, guys? All right. So, yeah, very, very important. Things have changed. Eras have changed. It's not the same like we were brought up. It is very, very different nowadays. There are more anxiety. There's more expectations from very
Yes.
nascent stages of their lives, and hence they do experience a lot of anxiety and stress. Thank you for those wonderful points.
Yes, I would also like to add that giving importance to them, considering an important member in the family, considering their opinions and suggestions would also make them to have a kind of confidence in them, so that when they go out or meet any kind of an anxious or stressful situation, they would be in a position to face it in a very bold way, rather than having the kind of fear or any kind of an inhibitions.
Correct. Being a mother myself, I do understand that the conversation has to be there. They need to feel that there is, I'm not reprimanded for everything and anything that I say. The child needs to feel very,
Yes,
very, the nurturing has to be in a very sensitive way, especially in terms of the kind of
yes,
world they're living in. Right. So,
yeah.
absolutely.
And at certain stage, it is very important for the parents to treat their children as friends, rather than having the kind of an authoritative kind of a tendency that I am a parent figure and you are the child and you must listen to me. So instead of that, having a kind of a friendly relationship would enhance the relationship. Also, they would be in a position to, as I said, would face any kind of situations that comes up before.
Absolutely, I'm with you on this because we don't know it all. Nobody knows it all, but we tend to get into that mode of
Yes,
the I know it better. You are the child, I'm the parent. So that needs to
yes,
go, and it has to be because we are all learning.
yes,
We learn from how we were
yeah,
parented,
yes,
and now we are learning from these
yes,
technology. So we are in a learning phase, and
exactly.
absolutely, I'm with you on every point that you made. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Shilpa, you need to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. So I'm coming back to. I just want to check with Priya once. Priya, will you be able to talk to us? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Then let me go come to let me go to Nidhi first, and then I come back to you in the end, right? All right. So hi, we already know about you. I have people know about you. Introduction is out there, guys. If you all the people who are listening to us, introductions are available in the chat box as well. So, being a coach, Nidhi, I have a question for you. That what are some of the measures that can help to manage, mental stress at work? Talk to us about that.
Sure. Am I audible? Yeah. So I think some beautiful points have been shared by all the panelists. Here, what I would like to give is I want to give a framework for everyone to manage anxiety, basis the experiences that I have had with my coaches. And this will not just work for the workplace people, but even students who are in organization institutes and they have anxiety. So there are three focus areas that I would like to talk about. And I would share some pointers again. That's okay. So my three focus areas are: first is clarity, second is connect, and third is control. So let's start with clarity. Clarity is one of the biggest issues which causes a lot of stress and anxiety, right? So we need to ask ourselves, what is the kind of information I need? And when I discuss these things with my coachee, they say, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You need to deep dive. You need to ask five wise questions to yourself. You need to see who can support me with this clarity. That is very important to resolve half of your anxiety concerns. Second is pause and reflect. Every day make a tracker for yourself, whatever my goals are, whatever my behaviors I've shown today, reflect on that. This helps you to manage yourself from time to time. This also helps you to manage your productivity. So clarity, I think this is very important. When once you pause and reflect, and second, you ask the right people about what kind of information can help you through it. Second is about connect. Now this is very interesting area. Connect is, I talk about relationship with others and relationship with yourself, right? And often when we are talking about the unequal world also, we make a lot of assumptions about other people. This person is coming from this region, this person just has this much experience, oh, this person is, she's a female, she can't do this. Clear your assumptions. And I know it's a very hard thing because we have been carrying a lot of assumptions in our mind, right? Because of our experiences, because of our nurturing. So ask yourself, whatever I'm thinking, how can I validate this? Whatever belief you have about somebody's potential or somebody's experience or somebody's speaking style, that is number one. Don't have assumptions. Second, try to understand communication is different for everyone. It may be because of the culture, it may be because of the region that they're coming from, and also everybody does not speak the same language, right? Often you would have seen the situations in which you get irritated with another person because he is not answering you in the same way that you want to be answered, and that causes dysfunction in a relationship. That becomes a reason for your stress, mental health, right? So this is the second thing we need to focus upon, is not having assumptions, and also just checking on the small thing, right? Also try to understand, we have often talked about comparison, but when you see so many news going around, you become, oh, how can I not compare? This is showing my worth. Try to understand everybody has lived their own unique journey. The people that you're seeing successful right now, they have put in efforts of some 10, 15, 20 years, I don't know what, and you are just seeing the outcome of it. So don't compare yourself with everyone. Their personalities are also very different. So this is about relationship with others. Be more empathetic as well. I mean, when you say empathy, people often get confused that empathy is about compromising every time. No, empathy is just getting into the shoes of others. You may not agree with their point of view, but at least try to understand where are they coming from. This will really help you. And in terms of relationship with yourself, often we say forgive others, be compassionate to others. How many times have you asked yourself, how can I be compassionate to myself? How can I be more forgiving of myself? This will really help you to calm down, because so many times we are just having a fight within ourselves, our inner conflict. And this is one of the most common interesting area that I have in my coaching, is inner conflicts, where sometimes even what you're saying, what you're doing is not aligned with your own values. And I can take an example. There is a person who is in a job of, maybe he's in a sales job and he wants to earn a lot of money, and he is doing a good job, but he is not feeling fulfilled, dissatisfied. Why? When you deep dive into that discussion, he says that money is the root of evil. Money is bad. Now, when you are having such kind of beliefs and values, how would it align to your work satisfaction? So that's the relationship with yourself which we need to keep working on, right? Because if we don't love ourselves, if we don't accept ourselves, how do we expect others to accept us? The third area where I want to talk about is the control. The first question I ask my coaches, whatever you're discussing, whatever situation you're in problematic, first think of it, what is in your control? Often we are obsessed about things which are not in our control, and we are just banging our head on that. Your head is like, it's a machine, our body is a machine, and it gets heated up because you're focusing on the things and you're banging your head against the wall, things which are not in your control. That's number one. Number two, a simple activity you can do for control is write down all your fears, guilts, grudges, and regrets. Once you write down, you will see so many of those emotions you have been holding for a very long time. Ask yourself, what are the beliefs which I'm carrying which are not helping me? Whether it is affecting you yourself or whether it is affecting your relationship with others. Check yourself that every time when you're taking an action, when you're trying to respond to someone just because you think that you have the knowledge or you just think that you are right, is this response really going to help the relationship? I mean, because we keep on talking that, pick your battles, but it is not just about the battle. Battle is when you're gone into a difficult stage. How about you're talking about the maintenance stage, right? How do you maintain relationships? You talk about empathy, but so many times when you want to respond, there is an urge, there's a trigger, and if you can just wait for that trigger for 5 seconds, you will be able to manage. So my final points: clarity, connect, and control. And all these things will not come in one day. You will have to train your brain for this. I mean, people come to me and they say, oh, we tried meditation, we tried this, we tried that, does not work, right? What I say to them is, during workplace also, in between your meetings, especially when you're having virtual meetings, take deep breath 5 to 6 minutes, warm up, do a dancing thing. Or if you're having your meetings, you can literally do a stand up meeting where you're standing, because we have been sitting for so long. So focus on these activities, train your brain consciously, and this will really help you. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, coach. You talked about some very, very important points and progress. We need to work on self. We need to take that deep dive. I do tell my clients as well that that deep dive within yourself. Often, you are the one. And then I began my conversation with self love, and you actually pointed in that same direction that self care, self love. You'll get answers. I think we know that even as therapy and in coaching as well, we all believe that the answers to your question lies within you, right? We are here to give you that push. Push becomes a nudge, a shove, whatever it takes for you to rise like a phoenix and just take control of your own like you said, when your own battles come. We are completely not, we are not prepared, we have not maintained ourselves like you said, and we are right there putting ourselves out there where there is so much work to be done to experience that feeling of happiness, content, achievement, good. And then I think then where other speaker talked, I think Ratika, then we can experience a happiness. Once we start doing all this, then we'll give a pat on our backs, and then we'll reach that stage where we will feel happy with whatever we have in our control. Very good points made out there. Thank you once again. And with that, our last panelist, Ms. Priya Verma, I have a question for you. Priya Verma is a counseling psychologist. She has a master's degree in psychology, diploma in psychology, and is a PhD research scholar at the University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. She has expertise in CBT, REBT, career counseling, relationship and marriage counseling, grief and depression across adolescents and adults. And she has worked with Central Hospital, Northwestern Railways, Jaipur as consultant psychologist, and she's an associate psychologist at Ali Maritime and Legal Services as well. So that's your introduction. And my question for you is, what steps can be taken to bridge the disparity and the inequality people face when they seek mental, health help? Go for it.
Thank you, Shilpa, for the introduction. Is my uh, mode well, and is my audio well too? You're not audible, Shilpa.
We can hear you. Go for it. Your
Okay, great.
mm.
Mode is also fine. Okay, great. So, the disparity and the inequality around the mental health, I would like to address this with the quote by Franklin Roosevelt. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, it is whether we provide enough for those who have little. And this quote by Franklin Roosevelt highlights that how divided we are and how we require attention to different age groups, class divide, socioeconomic status, and other forms of divisibility. Our society, we know that it is divided by the multitude of groups, and there are so many categories: LGBTQ and socioeconomic status, urban, rural. There are so many boundaries we have, and they are very rigidly bound. And each boundary, each class, each division has its own hassles and stressors. And if we do not know what and how to cater them, we are creating enough stigma and enough disparity for them to approach mental health. And when this kind of stigma and this kind of unapproachability towards mental health services is there, we are not able to cater to the services. There is a fact by WHO, and the NIMHANS did a research that we are only able to cater to the 15% of the people who require mental health services. Why? 85% of the people require mental health services and only 15% are able to access it. And those 15% are only the people who are living in the urban areas and they have a very little knowledge of what mental health is. Even in urban areas, people are still confused between whom to go to when they face any mental health issue. They still are confused between the terms whom to go. Who is a psychiatrist? Who is a psychologist? Who is a counselor? Who is a life coach? And these foundations are as confused as ever. Yes, the recent COVID pandemic has eased up the discussion around these topics, and these topics are now being discussed not just by the politicians, by celebrities, and everyone else. But more awareness is required in the divides which are created. Suppose if there is an LGBTQ person who requires some, or a queer person who requires some kind of mental health uh, advice or counseling. If I am having any kind of bias toward that person, will I be able to provide that kind of service to them? No, I don't think so. I have to be, I have to upgrade my knowledge. My mindset has to be bias free, and I have to be informed about the challenges they are facing in order to provide them the support they require. And when I educate myself as a mental health professional and I be the person who can be the confidant of them, they feel confident enough to reach out to me. And we also need to have some representative of each group so that they feel connected. In the Western cultures, there are so many the people of color who feel more comfortable reaching out to people of color rather than white people. So similar pattern could be followed not just in India but across the divides which have been created, so that they feel comfortable reaching out to the person they feel comfortable to, they feel related to, and across the all the age groups as well. When we are catering to the unequal world, we have to have a common agenda to cater to their needs, but also a mindset shift, which comes only after being educated of their challenges and struggles. And thus, gradually, we do that along with the policy changes, along with the mindset shift, and along with the awareness that these groups require a special attention other than the mental health as a whole requires a lot of attention. With that, I will complete and I would also propagate the idea that everybody should be able to diversify their field so that they are more approachable to people, and yes, make this a better place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you. I do agree with the kind of setup Western countries have, and that is what we have to be very sensitive to the emotions, we because we have like religions, and inside the religions we have caste, culture, creed, color. So we have to approach that kind of there's a thing like vibe with your tribe. We always vibe with our tribe. So I think to in order to create that, we also need to be very very sensitive, and our mindset, like you said, has to be very unbiased. A person coming to us should be coming to a clean slate, a very non-judgmental, because we are there. Sometimes people, I'm sure you must have all experienced that sometimes people just want to be heard, you know and more often than not, sometimes we are not actively listening to people. We need to read between the lines. We need to make them comfortable. We need to also, I feel, Priya, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We also, suppose I don't, as a psychologist, as an expert, I don't have those skill set to help a person with a problem, or from the kind of background he or she is coming from. we should be also open to showing them the right person. I have a colleague who works on this and this, please go to that, rather than making it like, I cannot send somebody away from me, like a person gone is a business loss kind of a. So we, our
Right.
mindsets, we are all doing beautiful work out there, and I think we all need to be work we all need to work as a fraternity, and we all need to understand that people are different, and any bias from where like you said, LGBTQ, this is something very new where our country is catching up with and trying to be tolerant about. So beautifully put, some of the very wonderful point and takeaways from all of your answers.
Shilpa,
And
I wanted to add one point to Priya's point, what she rightly said. It is also about considering the people with special need, your differently able people, right? There are people who are, we are talking about neurodiversity, basically in terms of people who are having ADHD and, some other kind of mental status, in which it is difficult for them to, maybe have concentration, focus, remember things, dyslexia. So we need to be able to provide these services accessible to them also, and need to understand that one size does not fit all, right? I mean, we read some books and you will give our that gyan or knowledge to everyone. Oh, you know what, you should do this. But often there are requirements are very different, so we need to be more sensitive to that as well.
correct. I know of people, like you said, ADHD. I know kids having autism, dyslexia, ADHD, and their institutions are not equipped with the right kind of, counselors and psychologists to deal with those kind of children. And we cannot even fathom the kind of, a cyclone that goes inside them when they are put against another child with the normal abilities, learning abilities, and then they can't match up to that, and then there's an expectation failure from the parents' side. And I think we need to see, in all walks of life and in all organizations, need to inject that kind of information. And I think it's high time that our schools hire, have a more inclusive environment and hire experts to deal with those children on the ground.
Absolutely.
Children, adults, anybody, like you said. And if anybody wants to chime in on this, the stage is open. You can briefly chime in before I go to our closing question. So let me know. All right. So with that, I want to move ahead. This is an open question, guys. Any one of you can choose to answer. Very important. That what does a person attending a counseling session with any one of you walks back with? What is that he gets? Who would want to answer this question for me? Please tell me.
Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah. So anybody who comes to attends a counseling session with you, what is that he'll get at the end of it? What is counseling? What does counseling do? So I think Miss Kivani, you were trying
Yeah.
to speak, but you were muted.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
All
you
right.
very much, Shilpa, so to take up this question. It's really very important because there are plenty of misconceptions among the people as to who the counseling is and what exactly counselor does and who are into this profession. So first of all, I would tell you that there is a basic difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. A psychologist basically deals with the issues, taking up the psychotherapies. So they have a psychotherapies approach, and whereas the psychiatrists deal with the approach with the medication part. So if this is the first very important fact, like a person needs to know that when they come for the counseling session. When I go to the next thing, very important part, like what are the takeaways, what the how would a person benefit. So basically I would say that the counseling is a process. It's a process between the two people, a therapist as well as the person who is coming for the help, seeking help. So it's not just a one session, it's a process, like it's going to take 2 to 3 sessions depending upon the issues what a person is facing. So this is very important, the person should know when he comes into the therapeutic situation or therapy which the person is coming for the counseling. When the person comes for the counseling, he gets a better idea as to where he stands, how can he perceive. Am I audible? Yeah. How does he perceive the situation and what can be done? How can he cope with the situation better? So in most of the scenarios, the person who comes for the therapy has the answer with them itself, but they are not able to perceive the thing well. So for example, if I say that this glass can be taken in two directions, one is half filled or half empty. So in a person who seeks therapy will get a different perspective view of the counseling session when he comes into different perspective of the situation what he is going through, and he will learn better to cope with that particular situation. So that will be his better takeaways. So I hope I have answered your question well. I have done justice to your question,
Yes,
Shilpa.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. It is, and I what I understand from you is it is not a one session thing. You need to. It's a process. It's a journey with a person's journey with a
Psychologist.
psychologist. It's a journey that needs to be persuaded for a given time frame until and unless you feel good. So, if any one of you would like to chime in on this, stage is all yours. You
One
want
second,
to?
I just want to
Yeah,
add one
Shilpa.
thing. Uh, I
Yeah,
want to
please go
add
ahead,
one thing.
Hidden Ma'am.
I want to add one thing here is basically it takes few sessions. Sometimes it just may take a one session. Sometimes it might take 3 to 4 sessions. So basically, a person who comes with to us should know this part that it depends upon the problem which the person is presenting with. In case of children, when they have lot of the way Nidhi said, the ADHD thing, the autism thing, in that case the second step would be taking proper assessments needs to be done. So in that case, the RCI registered psychologist does the proper assessment to find out what the child is actually going through, what is the problem based, and then he or she, what kind of provisions can be given by the different boards, how can it be held, and the different the therapeutic approach, that is either occupation therapy will work or a special educator will work, or what kind of remediation the child requires. So again, in case of children, if they are having academic issues, the scenario would be very different, the way of dealing would be different. If they come for the marital issues, marriage and relationship issues, again the difference would be there in the kind of how much sessions would go through. So again, these are all the basic questions, which the person comes through has in mind, that how many sessions will be there, what will be the basically the process. So the process depends upon the presenting problem that the client has come to us or the patient has come to us. Yeah.
So, Shilpa, I would like to share from a coaching perspective.
Nidhi, 1 second.
Yeah,
I will ask you on the coaching perspective. I think
sure.
there are Priya wants to chime in, so I'll go to Priya, then Uja, then Parvati. These people have raised their hand, and then I'll come to you with I have a question for you from the coaching
Sure.
perspective. All right, Priya, go for it.
Thank you, Shilpa. And
Is that my network
absolutely,
or Shilpa your network? I missed in between. I don't know.
No, you raise your hand. You want to talk, right? So after Priya, you can chime in on the same question about what does counseling do.
Hiral ma'am has beautifully described the process of counseling, and yes, it also does comes up with some misconceptions that it is a magical process. No, it isn't. It is as much mutual as it could be. When two people come together in a counseling session, a therapist and a client, they have to work towards a common goal, which is decided by them. And then session by session, progress is measured. Progress is measured in terms of how the client is feeling, how much is there, how much space he is finding to talk about his issues, his or her issues, and also the progress, not it should not be just on the basis of the feeling, but also how much he is or she is becoming independent in resolving those issues after some time, because end of the after terminating the counseling session, we want to make the client independent of dealing his or her issues. Along with that, it is not, when I said it is not magic, I won't be doing all the work. The session, the work which is done is as जितना session में होता है उतना ही session के बाहर भी होता है. And it could be overwhelming. The task could be overwhelming. It could be interesting. It could spark your some kind of talent if you bring it in. And It could the space could be as safe but overwhelming because there could be some issues you do not want to address, but they might chime in the session and could be uncomfortable to deal with and could take a little more time because with some traumas it could be a little disturbing. Along with that, both have to work together, and end of the day, the client leaves independent, safe, and much more relaxed and balanced uh, as compared to when he or she comes in the first session. So this is what a counseling session looks like.
Thank you, Priya. I agree. You work, then only anything will work. So you have to work with the person working with you. With that, I want to go to Urja. Urja, please share your thoughts on this.
I think both of them covered it very beautifully. The first thing what Hiral said, that it's a process. So very rightly put that it's a process. It's not magic, as Priya said. So um, what I just have to say that it's a journey, not just the client goes through, but also a counselor or a therapist also goes through with the client. And the client has a one or two or three perspective, but when they go to a third person, to a therapist or a counselor, they get a whole other another peripheral view or the another perspective towards the same situation. So when they go back, or even after the first session, when they come, they are very heavy. They their mind is confused. When they go back, or when they are going back, the first and foremost thing what happens is they feel light because they have bottled up a lot. They have already, 50% problem is solved because they have vented out. Now what remains in 50% is all the actions what they need to do, or maybe some clarity, some plan of actions. So all that takes a place and process, and it's a journey, I think, for both, not just one client. And I think a therapist has more journey than just one client, because I have a 20 clients, I will have a 20 journeys with these 20 clients, but that client will have only one journey. So it's a beautiful process, counseling. Yeah, that's all from my end.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree that it's like popping a soda bottle, right? It is overwhelm of emotions come out, and then you zip it, and the zing remains, but the froth is gone, which is the unwanted part of our pops. Beautifully put once again, Urja. Thank you for that. And I want to come to Parvati now. Please talk to us about that.
Parvati.
Yeah. Thank you, Shilpa, for once again providing me the opportunity. So, all of my co panelists have beautifully explained what the counseling process is. So, yes, so the most important thing the clients they have to understand it's not a magic, as Priya has correctly mentioned it. So, it's a gradual process, and we are here to teach them the kind of skills they which they can implement in their life, and they can be independent without being dependent on the counselor throughout their life. And it is also one of my personal experience that in one sessions itself they expect a kind of a solution, but they sometimes fail to understand that that cannot happen. It's not that they are getting or they're going to a doctor which they prescribe medications and they get well soon. So counseling is not that kind of a thing. So we are also in a position to understand them in detail, which is very much important for us to provide a correct way of therapeutic technique for them that would cater their needs, and also would be in a situation to deal with their problems effectively. So it's not a kind of a quick process. It takes some time, is as Erin ma'am correctly mentioned, depending upon the presenting problems they are coming with. It takes some amount of time, and they also need a kind of an patience in them, and hope and patience is very much important in the client, to get into this counseling process, and kind of a motivation for them to attend the counseling without giving a much of a gap in between the counseling process, because it benefits. So at the end of the day, it benefits them. And it is also a collaborative process. I would say it's not the only the counselor or the client who is going to work. It's like a team. It's like a teamwork where they're going to fight against a particular issue that the client is facing. So I think these certain things, it would be very beneficial, and it would be very helpful if the clients are aware of this. And at the end of the day, this counseling would create them a kind of in self-awareness at where they are and what they are suffering from, which would actually would be a kind of a stepping stone for them to build, to gain the kind of in confidence. Yes, I would be in a position to deal with this kind of in situation in an effective way. Thank you.
Thank you, Parvati. Yes, I think a discipline is required. Nothing happens in a wink of an eye or in a snap of fingers. So we have to be. I'm sure this is what the information goes when they first come to you. That's a process. It is a collaboration. You work, then it will work. We and you, we are an us in this. So beautifully put, all of you. Thank you for that perspective and that for initial knowledge. I'm sure a lot of people would have had this question and which is answered very beautifully now. I want to come back to you, Nidhi, as a fellow coach. What is coaching? Like, a lot of people come to me also and say, they don't understand first. It's a comparatively Western concept. So talk to me about a person when he comes to you for a coaching session. What is that he walks out with?
Sure. So, Shilpa, first of all, absolutely, I want to just clarify this fine line between counseling and coaching because people often get confused, right? And they may go to each other. So, for me, counseling is more to deal with issues which are related to past and present, which have been affecting the person for a very long time. And please correct me if I'm wrong, right? And coaching is more about, focusing on the present and then being ready for the next level, right? So it may be the next level role, it may be the next level of performance. That's number one difference. Number two, in coaching, we don't cater to people with deep mental issues or challenges, like somebody is going through a very severe case of depression, anxiety. Those are the people whom we would send to counselors, right? But somebody who is in a right mental state, but maybe because of stress, because of work, or because of some other reason, right? So three reasons why people come to coaches is, for one is for clarity, they are not able to make decisions, they don't know where to go around. Second is for confidence, that I'm not confident enough to take this step, or present this meeting, or be able to work with my stakeholders. And the third, so clarity, confidence, and the third is calmness, right? That okay, there is so much of stress, I'm having work life balance issues, right? So that's the calmness that they're seeking. So these are the three areas. And how coaching helps us in, specifically, I have my format, which is refocus, reframe, and rewire. Refocus means working on their mindset and deep diving into their belief system, values, to be able to help them achieve greater awareness. Reframe is helping them to connect all the dots, their mental patterns, their things that they have been doing till now, and be able to show them the bigger picture of the goals. And the third thing is rewire, which is carrying a detailed action plan by the end of a coaching session, which they can work on. And that helps them to have a deep transformation. And I would definitely agree with everyone who has said this. This is a journey. This is not just a one time event. Depending on the competencies or the skills that you want to develop, or the areas of stress that you're trying to manage, it may take to 3 sessions to somewhere to 9 sessions as well. But yeah, that's the difference. And I hope this was able to clarify.
I would say,
Absolutely.
sorry to
Yeah,
cut you, but
Uja,
I
go
just
ahead.
would like to add here is that coaching is all about, improving your skills or sharpening your skills, where counseling is all about your emotions and feelings and your discomfort which you're going through your life. That is the major difference between coaching and counseling. Is where one is a skills development, and the other is like not literally, but yes, it's based on your emotions, and improving your emotion quotient, and in your life, and being on track. Again, I think both of them are working towards getting person on track, so it's a parallel work for either it's a coaching or a counseling.
Yeah, I think there is a focus, increased focus on holistic well-being, right? Whether in the terms of counseling or coaching as well, we are not just talking about the mind working or the heart working, but also mind, body, and spirituality all these three, how are they coming together and making the person who is he today or she today, right? So I think that's the idea. But thank you for adding that to Urja.
Thank you. Yes, I completely agree with you, Nidhi. It's a person with very cluttered frame of mind in terms of his goals. Coaching is about goal setting in the future, reaching your goals, defining, decluttering your mind space. And if we feel as coaches that somebody who is in a not mentally stable to understand the kind of road is ahead of him, we do guide them towards psychologists, because he needs to get prepared to be able to take the reins of his life in his own hands and then work towards a goal. So it's a very specific structured goal setting process, and I cannot agree with you more that it's a holistic process. I do always talk about the 360 degree. Every area of your life has to be in balance for you to be in focus. And it is a beautiful thing that we all are creating here. And with that, that's all with my question. That's all that we had in mind for all of you. uh, Last but not the least, thank you for doing this absolutely a wonderful job that you're doing. And I cannot even imagine how do you go back with, how do you guys declutter, because there's a lot of overwhelm, flow of emotions. Like Uja said, that if you have 20 clients, you're on 20 journeys with them. So guys, it's very important for us to take care of our mental well-being, of our because if we cannot function rightly, uh, how will we guide someone else? So we need to be in control. And we are no gods, we don't have a magic wand, like Priya said. And we work with you, you work with us, and then we create a beautiful world for everybody to live in with. I think, Parvati, you have something to add.
And
All right, Parvati, then Nidhi. All right, go for it, Parvati.
Yeah, so with respect to coach, I would like to add one point here. Also, being aware of one's own strengths, which we call it as a kind of in character strengths, which is inbuilt in each one of us, would actually help the coachees, or the client to thrive in their life, to attain their highest well-being. And this would help them to have the kind of an self-awareness, and to also to have the kind of an motivate them to thrive to the higher prospect of life.
Absolutely. Nidhi, please go on.
yeah, I thought that you just shared a very interesting perspective, Shilpa, and I couldn't resist that you talked about that, how do we, when we work with 20 journeys of 20 different people, how do we keep ourselves calm? So this is one mantra I will share with everyone, which will help other people also who are listening to the call today, is that detach yourself to the outcome. Now I know I'm talking like a saint here, like a Buddha or something, but this is not about that you will not have happiness for your outcomes, or you will not have sadness. Yes, you will have, but don't label them as this is my success or this is my failure, this is good versus this is bad. Detaching myself is just seeing it as an external event that is happening. And there are so many events that pass through you. It's like a movie reel. When you watch the movie, maybe you get more involved, but when you come out of that movie, you're fine, right? And that's how we should see the life, and that's how I try to see work with my coaches. Sometimes, yes, the stories actually affect me when I'm like, I'm able to relate to them. But I think if you're able to learn to detach yourself to the outcome, not thinking it is good or bad, but just doing it for the sake of doing it because of whatever your intent is, I think that will really help. And any questions and answers, we'll be glad to answer.
Yes, yes, beautifully said. With that, I am concluding our discussion, and I am going to pass on the mic to Mr. Kailash. Mr. Kailash, hope you please on to you to share. And if you have any questions, please let me know who to direct it to.
So, firstly, I would like to congratulate each one of you who have spoken your heart out on the issues which is prevailing in society, and particularly on this Mental Health Day, when we are still trying to bring that mental stigma out of people and reach out to you. So many questions have been put up already, Shilpa, but I have one moot question from a layman's point of view who is looking to counselors and coaches. And I have a scenario wherein I would like to know from the expert here is that I'm a graduate. And after graduation, for 2 years, I don't have a job, and I get into a mode of thinking, and the family is putting pressure onto me, and in that pressure I feel depressed. And in that situation I feel that what is going to happen, because parents are not going to accept me like this. They've spent a lot of money in educating me, and then I'm in a dilemma whether I should be approaching a counselor or a coach. So what do you I mean, how do you judge at what stage that this particular person needs a coaching or a counseling? I think you talked about this to differentiate, but I'm talking from a layman's perspective. And it's issue with a lot of youngsters, and I've in fact interacted with those youngsters. We come to me and say that, look here. In I think Parvati has handled one such already, wherein I had a person who has been in a good job. She quit the job. She went into a social entrepreneurship, and then she's uncertain about as to what to do next. So, would you treat that as a sign of a psycho or a sign of a coaching need? So,
Kailash,
anybody can barge in.
yeah, Kailash, I just wanted to share here a quick perspective. This will be a case which will be in both the areas. So, regarding the discussion on the career, because the person has been having gap, I think this person should connect with a career coach who will help him to identify the skills and different options in which he can still get an opportunity. But in terms of his own anxiety, if this person is depressed coming from the state where has been 2 years without the job, I think that is the area where he can connect with the counselor. So I think both interventions are required, but he needs to be clear. For skill development and career opportunity, connect with a career coach, and for his depression, connect with a counselor.
Great. I think that sums up on my question. Thank you so much.
All right. Is there anybody who wants to share anything? Mr. Kailash, I just want to check with you. Are we towards the end of our session? Do we have any more questions from the
Yeah,
audience?
so we can see there are audience, and if we can ask questions, they can be either taken into panel or they can put up in chat box. So they can be taken in panel on their request. If they want to ask questions, they can come online, and we'll include them in room. And if they want to ask on chat, they can ask on chat, and then after those questions, we conclude.
All right. So, do we have anything in the chat? I
So all the audience, I can request them to send a request so that I can take you into the room, and you can openly discuss with our panelists. I can see Rashri there, Mr. Paul, Madhu Sharma, and Soumya. All of you can just press a button on your mic, and you will be good to be taken into the room. And you can then openly ask questions to all our panelists. And yeah, so you can put in a request, and you will be in the room.
You need to allow your microphone access so that you can speak here.
So you have to put your request on your mic. And if there are no questions, Shilpa, then we can conclude after maybe a minute.
all right. All right. I'm. There are no questions in the chat box. I'm not sure if they can access it with just being the audience. All right. So by the time we have them have their questions or have them request audience with us, uh, I just want to share that it was wonderful knowing all of you. Giving a face to the name that we've been. Now we are all working for Backup. So I think it will be wonderful. I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and great experience. But I also have to tell you that we all have to take care about our emotional wellness as well, and we should also go at the first sign of that overwhelm of emotions, or somehow we feel that some things are not working for us. We need to go to a person who has a clean slate for us rather than being our own doctors, right? So yes, so I want you all to take care of yourself. And with that,
Shilpa, I just want to add one thing,
yeah,
if I'm allowed to.
yeah, please go on.
Yeah. So there is one humble request to all the audience as well as to everyone who is just listening me, like not to be a Google doctors. which is very, 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 very important. Because before we come, we as a psychologist first label or say put down the diagnosis. They are into the front and they say, ma'am, मुझे तो OCD लगता है, मुझे तो डिप्रेशन ही लगता है, like मुझे तो panic attack. So they come with this labels only to us, where we have to say no, it's not panic attack, it's not OCD, it's quite normal. So not to be Google doctors. Like, this is the basic thing which I want to tell my audience here, who all are listening to me like right now. So come with a clean note with your just a problem and see what we have for you there. Yeah.
It's a beautiful point, Hero. And I just wanted to add one thing here. A very interesting thing is that, often we beat ourselves. Like, oh, I have not been able to do this. I'm not a good person. And or if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is one thing I say to people is that the anxiety of anxiety becomes more of an anxiety. Like, one that you're already anxious, you're overwhelmed, and now you're anxious. Oh my God, I'm feeling so anxious, right? So this is adding up to your anxiety. So again, like I said earlier, detach yourself from the situation, from the outcome. Think of it as this is a very normal human emotion. And yes, don't be a Google doc. Ask or consult the right person because they have the right skills and knowledge for it.
Very
I
true, very true.
I have to. This is very funny. I was going to postpartum depression after having the babies, and I just wanted to check with a psychiatrist to see that where are my areas. And he heard me. Then he told me, and before his prescription, he didn't give me any prescription because he told me that certain tricks and trades, how grounding techniques and things like that. If it doesn't work, then I should come. And before the prescription came on WhatsApp, there was a video, a very funny video that had the song that "Don't Google your symptoms." There's a song, and I was laughing my heart out hearing. And then came the prescription. Then he's like, "First, I want to listen to this video, and then go." And the song goes like, "Don't be your Google doctor." So I guess I totally agree. This technology has its own side effects, which is one of them is that we try to be experts ourselves by just reading.
So one last word I would like to put for all the panelists out here is that I think Urja mentioned that there are 20 journeys when they are dealing with 20 clients, and I think Nidhi also remarked on that, that it is a sort of movie wherein we try to kind of put it off. But the difference lies here that hats off to you guys, but I think you have to deal with that movie again and again. So there is a difference between the same movie, you watching and forgetting it, but here you have to deal, I think, every multiple sessions. So don't you think that it adds to your, emotional health as well? I mean, it adds to your anxieties, or maybe what you call as sort of overwhelmed when you do coaching or counseling.
Yes, Kailash. So this is what I was referring earlier, detaching yourself from the outcome. Again, when we look from the coaching, if I get too much involved in the journey that I have to help this person, I have to make him feel good. That's a lot of pressure on myself and that person as well. It's a journey that's going to happen. That's number one. And we do grounding techniques like, before the session, after the session, taking deep breath, hydrating ourselves. Even I ask my coaches from time to time when they're sharing in 1 hour session that have water. Like I always ask them to have water before the session. Go to nature. These listen to music. These are some simple activities which help us refresh again. And yes, that's a part of the story. But the value that we are able to create for them, or the satisfaction that we have after making someone feel better in terms of confidence or calmness, I think that's something which takes away all the stress. So that's for me.
So to add on here, Nidhi, basically we as a mental health professionals, we do take plenty of breaks. We do have a lot of mindful techniques which we use. Where do we deal with our own stress for the clients what they are coming with? As Urja correctly said that we are going through 20 journeys at the same time. So it's the amount of satisfaction and the kind of work that we love, and that brings about all stress level down in us.
Great.
So yeah, and we too tend to take our therapy sessions with the mental health professional in case where we feel overwhelmed and when we feel that our emotional cup is empty. Because when our emotional cup is empty, we can't give anybody else
True, true.
anything. So we too, under that situation, we do take therapy our own towards ourselves too.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
was exactly about to add to that, we also go to our mentors and our therapists that, or fellow colleagues, that hello bro, please help me out, what's happening, like, too much overwhelming is happening. Maybe it could be happen with the personal what a therapist is going through. Also it could be possible in such difficult cases, where therapist, as a therapist, we also get stuck somewhere sometime down the line. We don't understand, अरे इसको कैसे बताएं, इसको क्या बोले now, I'm stuck, I don't know how to move forward with this person in the therapy. So we also try and take advice from colleagues and from friends like you, uh, and we move ahead with that. So I think it's, people consider it that, oh, you are a psychologist, matlab you are a superhuman, but no, we also go through the exact same journey as you are going through. It's just the difference is that we know that what are the consequences, we know when it starts. That is the difference, that we know that it's starting, so we are alert. That's the only difference. There is no other difference between Kailash ji, you and us, or a Nidhi and Shilpa, you like as a coach, and we as a therapist. We are as normal as a normal human being. So yeah, that's all from my end.
Thank you, everybody.
So I would like to
Yeah,
add.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the techniques which we are providing to the client, especially when it comes to mindfulness technique, so it would be better if we as professionals can apply to our own self to first find out how it's working, and so that we would be in a better position to guide the clients, and we would be in a position to cultivate a kind of a confidence in them. Yes, it would work better. You can try it on yourself. So certain kind of a mindful meditation like body scan meditation, being aware, certain kind of other mindfulness techniques like grounding technique, so mindful walking, mindful eating, so that we would not go to the kind of in board mode that where we get emotionally burnt out because of throughout the sessions that we are seeing. So it would help even us also for many kind of techniques that we are providing to the client.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Kailashji, with all these wonderful techniques, strategies, tips, and information, um, can we call it that we had a really wonderful celebration of a mental, in its right sense? We celebrated World Mental Health Day.
Very truly, Shilpa. So I think we are coming to an end, and with this, we should conclude the session. So before concluding, I would like to thank all the panelists, Nidhi, Hiral, Urja, Parvati, Priya, and Kritika, who is, I think, not there right now. And of course, our moderator for the day, which beautifully handled the entire conversation with panelists and the questions and answers and moderation. So thank you so much, all. World Mental Health Day would not have been better concluded like this. So thank you so much, and have a very nice evening. I think it was a Sunday evening, which was, I think, well utilized. When somebody said that we go and rejoice, so please rejoice that you have spent 1.5 hours for some cause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
wonderful day.
you. Bye bye.
Bye. See
Wonderful.
you.